Abahambe, Abahambe. I will chase all the foreigners in South Africa. Vote for me. Ons buys me. The question I have, only one question. If someone can answer me this question without being too emotional, I'll give you a big shout out on the next video I make. The question, one only question I have though, is that since it has been reported and confirmed by the government of South Africa and all the education ministers and relevant people to justify this, that it is true, illegal immigrants' children are gonna be allowed to enroll and get admitted in South African schools. Since this is being confirmed, and since this, according to other people who are so patriotic than thou, will say this is threatening the school facilities we already have. They are in decay, they're dying, and you're allowing these kids to come. Our own South African kids are struggling, etc., to get into these schools. Ngapha you're bringing foreigners, what? What will Mr. Gayton Mchenzie do? Since this is coming from the government is in, is it gonna be one of those things where he keeps quiet about? Is it gonna be one of those things that tries to politicize Gangani then there, and then it's done, he doesn't do nothing, he just says, hey, this is wrong, foreigners must go, and then it's done? I know he's the Minister of Sports and Arts and Culture. What, like, you guys think when we try to hold Mr. Gayton Mchenzie accountable for certain things, we don't know that he's the Minister of Sports and Arts and Culture? We know he's the Minister of Sports and Arts and Culture. Everybody knows that. As we are talking about the promises he made to the people, as here we are talking about what his political party stands for, as here we are talking about why people even voted for him in the first place, this thing of foreigners must go. Is he gonna chase these kids, these foreigners' kids? Akiri, he's saying he's not against all foreigners, he's against undocumented foreigners. This is his fight, because here we are talking about kids who are gonna be enrolled in South African schools and admitted with illegal or undocumented. It was reported that kids are gonna be enrolled and admitted in South African schools even if they don't have the documents. Didn't you hear the news? Aren't you updated in what's happening in your country? So the question we have is Mr. Onspaisni gonna do anything about it? Because people are waiting for the savior. You know, when Drake dissed Kendrick in that puff beef, not puff beef, puff diss. It was Puff that diss of Drake. Who listens to Drake? Puff as rapper. Not a rapper, that man. But whoever listens to him is accolade. Drake once said, West Coast savior, trying to call on and revive the ancestry and the spirit of Tupac to come and rescue Kendrick Lamar. The same Kendrick Lamar who is showing him hell and flames. This Drake boy of your guys. So he said, West Coast savior, come and save your boy. Come and save Kendrick Lamar. So here we are talking about South African savior, the patriotic savior, the savior of South Africa's sovereignty, the savior of... What are you gonna do, my man? Because this is happening. Your government is making this thing happen. You see this thing of getting into coalitions and government nationally just because you want to be a minister so bad. You end up going into bed with people who are going to make it their interest to decampaign you live in front of everyone and your own audience, because you won't have anything to say, because they gave you the blue light, they gave you the ministry, they gave you something else to occupy your time that is going to take you away from your promises you made. That's going to take you away from the objective mission of your political party and why you do the things you do. Now the man seems to have forgotten the main objective of his party. I thought he was gonna reject it the most. I thought I'm speaking because I'm disappointed after all. I thought Mr. Gayton Mchenzie was gonna be the one rejecting this thing of kids of undocumented foreigners enrolling in schools in South Africa. I thought the man is gonna be the one who was gonna be going against this the most, going against this hard. That's why I'm asking these questions like, what is he gonna do? Is he quiet? What's up? Like a dentang, bruh. So you know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying. There's gonna be someone here who's gonna say, no, the minister is a minister of sports and art and culture. Heck, we know. We're not talking about sport here. We're talking about school. And we're talking about undocumented foreigners. Don't tell us about sport and art and culture. We're not talking about that. We'll talk about that on other matters when we want. Here we are talking about undocumented foreigners and foreigners must go slogan. The most famous slogan that has ever been in a political campaign in 2024 elections. Everywhere, hashtag foreigners must go, hashtag abahambe. We are talking about that. We're not talking about other things. So don't get confused. Don't confuse yourself. Don't try and dodge the discussion. Face it for what it is. Because it's happening. South Africans, some of them, they are against this. And they don't have a savior anymore. Their savior used to be someone who is now quiet. South Africans used to have a savior when it comes to this thing of fighting foreigners. They seem now to not have anyone on their side. Operation Tutula now is quiet. There is no outcry, nothing about this thing. Maybe this thing is not real. Maybe it's just real in my eyes. Is this thing even real? Or maybe me, I'm just reaching. Is it happening that undocumented kids are gonna be admitted in South African schools? It's not real, ne? It must not be real. That one is not real. Maybe me, I'm crazy. Yazin, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. That thing is not real. Me, I'm making up things. I made this up. Like, it can't be real. It's not real. What am I even talking about? I'm talking about undocumented kids admitted in South African school. And then there's no one to say and object that and be like, no, abahambe. What am I talking? Nah, I'm talking nonsense. I'm talking nonsense, right? Guys, I'm talking nonsense. I am talking nonsense. You guys can hear me. You can hear me. I'm talking things that don't exist. Yeah, Zakala. Don't promise what you can't give. Because accountability will face you in the eye. And then you won't have anyone to save you when you're called out for lies and deceit. But I don't know, guys. It is what it is. Thank you very much.